Victor, I like that. I don't think God intended for us to actually work at all. So let's start from there. But anyways, good evening, everyone. And welcome to class. Today, we're going to be talking about product documentation for product managers. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you're excited about this class. Can you guys hear me clearly? Am I audible? All right. Yeah, let's go there. Okay, so this is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be introducing you guys to product documentation. Why do we document in product development or in product management, however you want to put it? Then we're going to conclude and then go to the question and answer session, whatever. Yeah. Now, an overview of product documentation. Who is feeling my slides today? I love it so much. I always come with a bang when it comes to my slide times. So I said that, I know, right? Pitch is an amazing tool. I said written communication to engineering is superior because it is more consistent across an entire product team. It is more lasting and it raises accountability. Written communication to engineering is superior because it is more consistent across an entire product team. It is more lasting and it raises accountability. This is my starting quote for this class. Now, we said written communication. That should suggest that there is unwritten communication, which are the two types of communication. And I hope that you guys remember that one of the great attributes of one of the skills that a product manager has to wear and has to master is the act and the art of communication. It's at the very core of your career, of your role, and of your responsibility. And I was on a webinar one day and someone said that for over 10 years of doing product management, it can say that product management is 80% communication and 20% execution. You just have to keep communicating, whether by writing, whether on calls, whether by showing it, whether through your body language, whether through posts on social media. You just keep over communicating. When you are conducting user research, it's a form of communication. You are receiving data so that you can communicate back the features that your audience or that your users are going to need. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? In documentation, you are communicating what your product is going to be about. Yeah. When it comes to stakeholder management, you have to be able to manage your stakeholders through great communication. When it comes to alignment of your team, you have to also do it through communication, written and unwritten. When it comes to your product demos, talking to users, marketing campaigns, everything, every single thing about your role as a product manager still boils down to communication. And when it comes to communication, while unwritten, or do I say verbal communication is important, written communication is actually superior. And if you guys remember, I started our quote by saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. When you can't rely on the written communication. And before I progress in this class, I want to admonish and encourage and remind you guys to have your writing notes. Like I always say at the beginning of every class, it's always nice to jot something down. Always jot something down. I myself, during our classes, I have my notes. Maybe I thought of an idea or an illustration came to my mind when I was preparing for this class. And I can't put it in the slides. I just have my notes right beside me so that I can remember to communicate that illustration to you guys to help you better understand. Yeah, even during the course of the class. If you guys remember, there was a time we spoke about competitive analysis and the next morning I came to further, explain what competitive analysis on the types of competitors. I took a note during the class that I saw that people were asking a lot of questions like they didn't understand. So I took a note, I got a feedback, and I took a note and I made a note on my phone to, find a way to further and better explain it to you guys the next day so that it can help in your assignment. So no matter the level of communication you are, even prototyping is a type of written communication, yeah, which is a part of your product development. So let's just proceed in this class. So I said, why documentation? Yeah, why do we document as product managers? Why do I need to bother myself? And trust me, guys, as a product manager, you write at least in your lifetime, you write a minimum of 10 different documents. So if you are someone that does not like writing, this is not the career for you. If I show you my Google Doc, oh my God, I open new Google Docs every week. I open an average of 10 to 15 new Google Docs every week because of like the level of role that I have right now. Some of them are formal documentations. Some of them are just ideas when I am doing, when I'm brainstorming, when I jump on a call with a user or another stakeholder, or during stand-up, just ideas that I have. If you check my iPhone notes too, tons and tons of technical notes, tons and tons of ideas. So your notes has to be your best friend. So, but why do we document like as product managers? I wrote here that the product documentation is a unified way to exchange information about a software. Here, I would actually say about a product or a service that every team member should be aware of. Product documentation is a unified way to exchange communication about a software, about a product, about a service that every team member should be aware of. I said creating several documents for numerous processes helps to keep the whole development process organized. It helps to avoid unanticipated problems caused by misunderstandings. It helps to bring all the information about your application, your product, or your service into one place. Don't let the grammar overwhelm you guys. All the grammar I'm trying to say is that when you put everything you want to build in a document or in several documents that help you explain what you want to build, it just helps your product development to be much more seamless. It helps it to be much more organized. It helps your team that will be working on what you have to be much more aligned. Yeah. Please let me know in the chat box if you guys understand, if we are on the same page. Do you guys understand what I've said so far? All right. Yeah, so I said the purpose of documentation in product development. What goals, are we trying to achieve when we document? What's the purpose of documentation? What's the importance of documentation? Yeah, what are we trying to do? The first thing first is that we are trying to develop a precise product vision. There's a popular saying that where there is no vision, the people perish. When there is no product vision, the product perishes. A product that does not have a vision will perish because it's the vision that keeps you on track. It helps you know where you are going to. So the first reason why you do, and you're going to get to know about what the product vision is in the incoming slides. So I said with writing everything helps product managers make crucial decisions and get answers right at the beginning. And questions such as, who is the product for? Why does the app need to be developed are well refined in the process of documentation. I want to ask a very smart question. Which document helps you know who the product is for? Who can answer that? Fastest fingers. FAQs? Nope. User research documents? Nope. Research? Nope. PRD? No. Thank you, Israel. Your user persona, guys. Who is the product for? It's your user persona. Is anyone confused? Did you guys forget? Did you used to eat Amala? Maybe you used to eat Jamala. It's your user persona. It helps you understand who your product is for. Of course, research is what helps you gain data and insights on your target audience, but the particular document that helps you know who your product is for is the user persona. Now, the second purpose of documentation is clear communication in product development. I said to turn an app vision or an application idea or a bulb, a bulb moment that you add in your bathroom, to turn that into a real and well-functioning application, a product or service. A product manager uses documentation and establishes written communication with your designers, with your engineers, with your marketers, your quality assurance manager, your CEO, your CTO, anyone involved in the product development process. You use documentation to nudge them in the right direction and execute the well-articulated plans. You use your product documentation to align them to ensure that your effort as a team is in the right direction. The third purpose for documentation is to ensure fulfillment of customer needs. Now, I said here that from ideation to research and prototyping, there will be user needs that will be discovered. There will be user needs that you're trying to solve. When you document these needs, when you document these functionalities, when you document these pain points, when you document these features, you can easily access, them and say that, okay, we are going to include this. So imagine that you add a usability testing and you don't document your findings there. How are you going to ensure that in the coming sprint, this pain point should be solved, or this feature should be removed, or this feature should be added, or this feature should be refined? What ensures that the needs that you identify at every stage of your product development or at every stage of your product life cycle, what ensures that these needs are eventually met is product documentation. Last but not the least, team accountability and transparency. By keeping documentation of all the tasks related to a product manager can know what team members are doing, and this will make them can know what team members are doing and make them accountable for their share of the task. When you guys have your class with agile software development, you understand the aspect of breaking down features into sub-features, breaking sub-features into tasks, and then allocating it to different members of the team. When you break these things down, it's also a form of product documentation. Are we together, guys? Let me see your best emoji in the chat box. Let me know if I am explaining it well. Let me know if you guys understand what I am saying. All right. Thank you so much. I want to be sure that I am not just doing grammar. All right. Thank you, guys. So now we get to the best part of our day. I don't know why this picture came to my mind when I was preparing this slide. But yeah, when you get your documentation right, it's bullseye for you as a product manager. It's bullseye. It reduces the stress and the calls and the meetings that you have to jump on. Take it from somebody who's a product manager. If you want to do Oroju, what's Oroju in English? If you don't want to be diligent and you don't want to get your documentation right, that time that you should have spent in writing the right documentation, you will spend it jumping on calls. You will spend it jumping on calls to explain things that if you are done well, you won't have to jump on calls to do. It's all right now for you. So yes, your product vision and mission. Product vision and mission. I said here that the product vision is a statement that paints a picture of the future of the product. It paints the picture of the future of your product. It paints the picture of the future that your company looks forward to, that your company is trying to reach. It is a long-term aspirational goal that guides the overall direction of the product development and strategy. The product vision typically focuses on the impact that the product will have on the market or society, rather than the specific features or benefits of the product. Now, I wrote here that the Coca-Cola's product vision, I actually went to their website to copy this, is to craft the brands and choice of drinks that people love to refresh them in body and spirit, and have them done in ways that create a more sustainable business and better shared future. This is very long. That makes a difference in people's lives, communities, and our planet. Now, Coca-Cola has not gotten to the point where their drinks actually refreshes everybody in body and spirit. While saying that they are pretty much almost there, Coca-Cola is very, very refreshing, but it's not entirely healthy. They've also not gotten to the point where their products are actually sustainable to the planet particularly and to communities because of the bottles that they still use. Plastic is still very, very detrimental to the environment. But I can see that they are actively trying to find, they are actively trying to find or figure out means that can help with that. I think they have a sort of recycle campaigns that they do and the likes. So you can see that this product vision is much more focusing on impact on the lives of people, on the health of people, on the community, on the society, and the likes. Some people will have their vision as, we are trying to do something in Africa, we're trying to make healthcare accessible to Africa and the likes. But the product vision is a statement that outlines the purpose and the goal of a product. The vision paints a picture of the future, while the mission outlines the purpose and the goal of the product. It typically includes information about the target market, the value proposition, and the benefits of the product. Helps to align the efforts of the product team towards a common goal. Now, according to the Flutterwave website, you guys should get ready for a mental test right now. According to Flutterwave's website, their mission is to build payment infrastructures to connect Africa to a global economy. Now, from this information, from this market, from this product mission, who can tell me who their target market is? Africa. Thank you so much, George. And what is their value proposition? Payment processing. Yeah, what else? Let me see more. Payment infrastructure. I want to see more options. Brilliant, George. They are basically bridging payment gaps in Africa. Good and seamless payment processes. That's amazing too. That's amazing. So as a product manager, I don't want you to just don't just carry what is here and dump it back to me, which is what some of you did. You can get a more refined value proposition from what they have here. And what's the benefit of the products? Some of you have mixed it up. Building and creative alternative means of payments. Nice. What's the benefit of the products? If they want to bridge or build payment infrastructure for Africans, when Africans have payment infrastructures that are seamless, that are easy, and that are accessible, what do we stand to benefit from that? Easy payments, easy transaction, yes, I get that. But the answer is staring at you guys on this slide. There is economic growth, yes. Global placement, thank you. Global connection. We want to connect Africa to the global economy. We want Africa to find a place in the global economy. Globalization of our finance infrastructure. So I hope you guys understand what we're trying to say here. Our target markets, Africans, Africans making financial transactions. What's the value proposition? We are building or bridging payment gaps by building payment infrastructures. And when these two things now are put together, what benefits do we stand to gain, and do our target audience or our target market, what benefits will that bring? It's basically connecting us to the global economy. I hope that you guys understand this. I would advise that, to help you understand better, just go to some of your favorite products, go to their websites. These things are available there. Go to their website, go and see how they crafted their product vision and mission, and try to pinpoint these things that I have mentioned from their product mission. Try to know, okay, what's their target market, what's their value proposition, and what's the benefits of this product. It will help with your product thinking. Yeah. Thank you for the feedback, Basi. I'm glad you're enjoying the class. Okay, now to our product strategy. Our product strategy is a sequence of products, features, or events, that are meant to be created until the final product is achieved. Now, in summary, so basically, your product strategy will always have your product vision and your product mission. Your product strategy document is made up of your product vision and your product vision. When you put that two together, it will now help you say that, okay, we want to build payment infrastructures. How do we do that? Where do we start from? What are the products we are going to launch? Are we going to start from businesses? Then we move to individuals, which is what Flutterwave is doing. They started from businesses, then they moved to individuals. Now they have API for developers. And little by little, we can see that almost every business in every sector that will do a payment, that will do anything finance related, is either using Flutterwave or Paystack. Am I right, guys? So these are the things that they must have thought about. So your strategy is basically, okay, this is what we want to achieve. This is where we are going to. These are the people we want to solve this need for. And this is going to be the benefits. How do we get there? Do we start by, do we start with a mobile app? Do we target certain people in Nigeria first? If we come to Nigeria, do we start from Lagos because it's the hub of technology? Then we expand to Abuja, and then we move to other countries in the Southwest. All these things basically make up your product strategy document. So I said in summary, the product mission is focused on the present and serves as a foundation for the product development process, while the product vision is focused on the future and provides direction and inspiration for the product team. Both the product mission and product vision are essential for defining and achieving a successful product strategy. So before we move on, I need someone to just identify a major difference between your product mission and your product vision. What's a major difference? I just mentioned it. I just want to know that you guys are following. Future and now. Yeah, product vision, long-term goals. Need more, I need more, I need more. Vision is what you want to do. Mission is how you want to achieve it. Yeah, sounds like you guys are with me. Is the foundation. Exactly. I love how our bio may put it. Vision is what we want to do, and the mission is how we want to do it, how we want to get there. Amazing. Mission also involves who we want to do it with. I mean, who we want to do it for. Who are the users we're doing it for? Yeah. But yes, thanks for the feedback, guys. Now, the PRD. I'm sure that every average product manager has probably come across the PRD once or twice in their lifetime. And I think it's one of the most annoying documents to write. I hate writing PRDs, guys. It's so stressful. You can literally spend a week or 2 weeks writing PRD. Trust me, when you start writing PRDs at eye level, you are not going to love it. You have to do user flows, user stories, acceptance criteria, assumptions, release plan, write the requirements, overview. It's just so much. Sometimes you write like a PRD for like 4 pages, depending on how high level what you want to write is. Yeah. But guess what? Whether you like it or you don't like it like me, you are going to write it. And that's why I'm going to talk to you guys about the product requirements document. If this is your first time of hearing about it, that's absolutely fine. That's why you are here. And that's why I am here. Now, the product requirement document is an all-in-one place. Somebody say all-in-one. Your PRD is so important that if someone that has never heard about your product should pick up your PRD today, they should be able to know everything about your product. That's why I said the PRD is so stressful to write. It has to be so detailed. You cannot paraphrase. Of course, it has to be simple, but you have to ensure that nothing about your product is left out in your product requirements. The name itself already suggests it. Product requirements. This is what our products will require for us to get to where we want to take it to. This is what the feature we want to build will require. These are all the things that it will require for this feature to be launched. And I said here that a PRD will contain everything that must be included in a release to be considered complete, serving as a guide. Serving as a guide for subsequent documents in the release process. A PRD is so important that when you want to write other documents, you would always have to refer to your product requirements documents. Yeah. When you want to write your user stories, your acceptance criteria, which we're going to talk about very soon, you always have to refer to your product requirement documents. When your engineers want to look at the design, or your designers want to know the flow, or your marketers want to know the user journey or the user persona, they should be able to see everything in your product requirement document. The PRD typically serves as a blueprint for the product development process and provides a detailed guide for building a product that meets customers' needs and aligns the overall product strategy. Some people would even say that your PRD is literally your product strategy explained. And I don't entirely disagree with that. I'm trying to see my chat box. I don't entirely disagree with that. Yeah. Okay. So now, because your PRD is very important, you guys are going to be writing PRD as part of your assessment. So get ready, guys. The work has begun. For those of you that have not realized it, Ishe Tibere. But of course, I'm going to make sure that it's something that is not so high level so that you don't get overwhelmed, but at least by the time you are done, you should be able to. Adelaide, why are you crying? Basi, why are you guys crying? I know people know how to do products manager, how to be a product manager, how to be a product manager. Well, here you are. Welcome to the team. So I said, what should be in your PRD? Objective or goal? Explain why you are building this and what do you hope to accomplish. Who can give me another name for objective and goal based on my explanation? Why you are building this and what do you hope to accomplish? Thank you, Babajide. Basically, your objective or goal is your product mission and product vision. Let's stop. You might just add a few more grammar. But actually, one of the things that should be in your product development or your PRD is your product. Or now, I need you guys to understand that the PRD is not always only for a product. It can also be for a feature. It can be for a functionality. Do you guys understand? So sometimes there is the overall product vision and mission, and sometimes there is like a feature's mission or objective and goal. So if you are writing a PRD for a product, the objective and goal is going to be the vision and mission of the product. But if you are writing it for a feature and functionality, then it's better you just stick to objective and goal. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? Let me know in the chat box if you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I want to ensure that nobody's confused or left behind. Thank you. Okay, let me come again. When you're writing a PRD for a product, like an entire product, say Zoom, say A-Food or Child Deck, your objective or goal is basically the product's vision and mission and the product strategy, basically. But let's say that you want to now write for a feature. Let's say feature to schedule, Child Deck does not have, I don't think Child Deck has a scheduling feature. Let's say that you want to now write a feature, you want to write a PRD for a feature to schedule, for users to be able to schedule their meals or schedule, I don't know which way it's pronounced, or for users to be able to schedule their meals. You won't have to do, there's no need to go and do product vision and mission. We already know that. What you now do is objective and goal. Do you guys understand? Objective and goal. Explain why do you want us to work on this feature. You need to communicate to your team. Why do you want us to work on this feature? What goal is it going to achieve? How does it help us to get to our product vision? Yeah. So, yes. The next thing that should be in your PRD are the features or functionality. So let's say it's a product you're working on, it's going to be features. And let's say it's a feature you're working on, you're going to be working on the functionalities. For each feature or functionalities, you should include a user story, the goal of the feature, and a use case at a minimum. Additional details may be helpful or necessary depending on the complexity of the feature, such as out-of-scope items. For anyone that uses Confluence, they have a very nice template. I use Confluence at work as my PRD template. We're still going to talk about templates later on. So for the template I use, there's a section there that says out-of-scope items. Yeah. And it's just, another section it's just high level. It's not compulsory that it's in your PRD. Let me go over feature again. So Zoom has the calendar feature, it has the email feature, it has the recording feature, it has the share your screen feature, it has a lot of features. Yeah, every single thing must be itemized in your PRD. Now, under each feature, you need to let us know what's the goal that this feature is going to serve. What's the user story and what is the use case? Use case in the sense that in what scenario is your user going to be using this feature? And don't worry about user story. I'm going to teach you guys how to write a user story in this class. So let's go there. Now, the third thing that should be in your PRD is the design. Now, And you guys will now understand and appreciate why we are going to have a class where a product designer is going to help you guys know how to do at least the basics of wireframing. It's because it's important so that your PRD can look better, can communicate better to your product development team. So your design is an integral part of the product and should be addressed in your PRD. So you have to include your most high impact wireframes and mockups for your feature and specify how the users will interact with this feature. You know, I worked on a PRD for a feature not too long ago, and I had to do a flow chart for my designer. My flow chart is basically saying that once they sign in, this is what they should see. After they see that, this is what they should click on. When they click on that, this is where it should lead us to. This is part of your design. And it should be in your PRD. Do you guys understand me? We are getting to the very, very technical part of product management. And I can understand if you guys are not chatting so much in the chat box. Well, you can say that it's a user flow. You can say it's a user flow. Most times, the user flow is mostly about the entire product, but your PRD is not always about the entire product. Like I said, it can be about just a feature or a functionality on your product. So you might want to have a design or a flow chart or a wireframe. Sometimes people even use their pen and paper to just do low fidelity wireframes to just show that, okay, this is what this feature is going to look like by the time we are done building it. Yeah. So it will help to communicate to your designers and your developers about what you are trying to do. All right, I can see you're paying attention. Now, your PRD should also include your requirements. This section describes the technical and functional requirements of the product. And requirements like the name sounds. It basically just means technical requirement basically just means the technical things that need to be used. Say, oh, our product is going to be integrated with, you know, the card payment microservice. I don't want to go to high level, you guys. Lord help me to explain this well without using a lot of technical lingo. The technical requirements basically involves the technological stack, the system architecture, the integration that is going to be needed for your feature or your product to be built. You guys will notice that maybe when you are using Child Deck, when you want to make payments, you can add card. You can pay through, I don't know, is it Flutterwave that Child Deck uses? I know A4 uses Paystack. Which of the payment platform does payment APIs does Child Deck use? Nobody's using Child Deck in this class. Okay, let me use Zoom. How many of you know that you can integrate your Google Calendar on your Zoom account? How many of you know that? So when you integrate your Zoom account on your Google Calendar rather on your Zoom account, the product manager of Zoom must have mentioned that in their PRD that, okay, to be able to build this product or to be able to build this feature, we are going to be integrating the Google Calendar API. That's part of the technical requirements. Yeah. Functional requirements includes the user interface, the workflow, and the data requirements. Say that, okay, if I want to be able to create an account on Zoom, what do I need? Oh, thank you, Adelaide. They use Paystack. If I want to create an account on Zoom, what's the data I need to collect? I need to collect their emails. I need to collect the password. I need to integrate. I need to install the Google SSO, single sign-on or sign-up. I don't want to bore you guys with the technical aspect of this, but I really hope that you understand it. Don't worry, I'm going to take question and answer. So anyone you don't understand, you can quickly go back to it. But yes, we are getting to the technical aspect of product management. So it will be very, very important for you to pay attention. And after the class, go back to your slides, go to articles, watch YouTube videos, and get to understand these things. Like, I remember that whenever I attend classes like this, I would literally go back to this and say, how can I write objectives and goals in my product requirement documents? I read maybe 2 or 3 articles on this. How do I write user stories? Of how do I write features, on my PRD? I read articles on that. So it just helps to build, how you would write them, rather than just relying on what I explained in class alone. Yeah. So I would definitely encourage you guys to ensure that you do research outside the class. Learn more outside the classroom. Yeah. We were where were we? Where was I? Assumptions and risk. This is also very, very important to add to your PRD. And this section should identify any assumptions that have been made during the product development process and any associated risk. Identifying assumption and risk helps to ensure that the product team is aware of potential issues and can plan accordingly. Don't let the grammar disturb you guys. Now, what do I mean? When Zoom wanted to launch, how do you create a Zoom account? Who can tell me in the chat box? How do you create a Zoom account? Or how do you sign into Zoom? Through Gmail, through your email. Thank you. Thank you so much. So imagine that you are now a Zoom product manager. An assumption that you should make is that your users have a Gmail account. So you are building for users that have a Gmail account. Now, if your users do not have a Gmail account, then you need to also provide another way for them to sign up, which is why Zoom also has the opportunity for Apple users to sign up with their Apple ID. Or they have where you can just sign up with maybe Facebook, or you can sign up with your Facebook account. Do you understand how assumptions will now help with your product development? So when you assume that, oh, my users have a Gmail account, what if they don't? Oh, they will have an Apple ID. Okay, what if they don't? They should have a Facebook account. What if they don't? What if it's a Yahoo account they have? Then let us create a field where they just input their email and they input their password and they are able to create an account. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I'm specifically using illustration so that you can get the picture. Thank you. I need your feedback in the chat box, because it's your feedback that will help me know if I should go to the next point or I should, reiterate what I just explained. Now, another risk that comes with your product is, say, Kuda. Kuda understands that they are building a fintech product, or say PiggyVest. Do you understand that they are building a fintech product? And that means that the financial data of people is very sensitive. A risk that is associated with owning a Kuda account is that somebody can easily take your phone and log into your Kuda account. Who can tell me features that help to now mitigate such risk after they've identified such risk? Security questions for PiggyVest, yes. Fingerprint log, face scan, two-factor authentication, brilliant, guys. OTPs. So imagine that, I am a product manager at Kuda now. I have identified the fact that it is possible for, if you guys even notice, another feature that must have been built after identifying the risk that associated with your product is that if you drop your phone after you've logged into your account, after 2 minutes, it's going to sign you out and you will have to sign in again. That's to ensure that if you mistakenly drop your phone somewhere and maybe somebody was looking at you, yeah, if they pick up the phone and want to do anything there, they would have to need your password or be able to scan your face before they can access it. Another one they did is that even if somebody can, even if you are now pressing your phone and someone is behind you and they want to spy your phone, you can put that star thing that will hide your balance. Are you guys understand? Are you seeing how a product manager thinks and how product documentation helps when you itemize these things? Exactly, guys. Exactly. So when you identify these assumptions and risks, it helps you to ensure that your product team is aware of potential issues and they can plan, they can solve, they can mitigate, they can control them accordingly. They can thank you so much, Oluseyi. They can take every single thing into account. And last but not the least, you need a release plan. I mean, what's the point of building something if you're not going to release it? So your release plan involves your major milestone. So say that we are building a product now. We have milestones. Milestones are basically high-level points that your project will get to, and you can push to your end users. They can manage it at that point. So you can say, okay, at the end of this first milestone, we'll release it. Then we'll go back to building. At the end, the second time, we can release it and we can go back to building again. Release dates. You also put this in your PRD. Release criteria. How do we want it to function? How do we want it to look? Who are the users we want to be able to use them? How easy to use do we want this product to be? Supportability, This is why applications have versions. Thank you so much. What's right? And someone asked that this can always be updated, right? Exactly. Every documentation in product management can be updated. I think I said it in one of our classes. And why do things happen? Why do we update documentations? Because it's a living document. Thank you, Rukoyat. Thank you for you guys always suggesting the precise words to use. It's a living document. You keep iterating until there really is no level, there's no point of perfection in product development because your users are always evolving. Your industry is always evolving. Our technology is always evolving. So as it is evolving, your documentation too should be evolving. So who can itemize the things that I said should be in your PRD? What's the first thing, guys? Objectives and goals, exactly. What's the second thing? Your features. What's the third thing? The design. What's the fourth thing? Let me carry it away before you copy it. Your requirements, thank you. What's the fifth thing? The assumptions and the risk. And what is the last thing? Your release plan. So proud of you guys. All right, let's go there. Now, we are now back to our user stories. Where did I say that we are going to use our user stories? At what point do you put your user stories? In the features, in the functionality. The user story basically describes or defines a feature or a product. Because it is assumed, we can assume that the reason why you are adding a feature to a product is because a user needs it. Am I right? You don't just randomly put a feature in a product. It's because you know that, okay, there is a need or there is a product, there's a problem we're trying to solve. And these are the things that will help our users solve that problem on our application. Your user story is basically what now helps you to define your feature, helps you define your functionality from the perspective of the user. Now, what should your user story contain? Number one, who is my user? And how do you get to know your user? Of course, by doing user research. You create your user persona and you define or you craft your user. So the first thing your user story should contain is who your user is. The second thing it should contain is why, what do they want? And the third thing is why do they want it? Now, there's a template that we use for user stories. And it is, as a user, I want to so that I can. Now, that's your user persona. Please just hang in there, guys. I'm not, trust me, I'm not confusing you. That's your user persona. I want to, that's what they want or what they need so that I can. That's the benefits. Now, let me take you to the next slide so that you can understand what I'm saying. Now, a user story for a feature on Instagram can be this. As a fashion designer, a fashion designer is a user persona on Instagram. Are we right? Do we have fashion designers as people that use Instagram rather? As a fashion designer, I want to save all my design inspirations so that I will be able to access them whenever I need some inspiration to design. So now let's break it down. What feature is this for on Instagram? Where are my Instagram users in? Saved post. Gracias. See, guys, let your mind know that you are a product manager. When you see a product, think like this. Like, when you see a new feature release, think like this. Just imagine and say, okay, for this feature now, if I'm a product manager, how do I write the product document? How do I write a user story for this feature? I just want to know if you guys understand what I'm saying so far. Who can write a user story for, what example can I give? What example can I give? Who can write a user story for the retweet feature on Twitter? Who can try? I want to see who can try. The retweet feature on Twitter. Who is that person that is unmuted? Can you hear me? Waiting. I want to see people that can try. Don't worry, your user, sometimes you don't need to have a particular user persona. Sometimes you can just say as a Twitter user. It does not have to exactly be as a user persona. You can say as a Twitter user. Okay, as a journalist, I want to be able to share live news so that I can alert people of what is happening. Okay, Rufus, that is good, but that's not for the retweet feature. Okay. As an influencer, yeah, I want to be able. Oh, where's that influencer one? I just missed it. I want to be able to spread products to a wider audience. There's still something missing there. So, look, you could say as an influencer, I want to be able to to reshare certain content on my timeline so that I can spread the information to a wider audience. How about that? How does that sound? Sweet, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I love it, guys. I love the energy. I love the energy. I can see so many brilliant perspectives to writing user stories that you guys have. As a user, I want to be able to reshare information so that I can bring information to my feed. Another way I would write that is, as a Twitter user, I want to be able to reshare information so that I can share what aligns with my values. Yeah, because by people's tweets, you can see what they agree with. You will retweet what people agree with. Yeah, if you are an influencer, you would retweet things that you want to reach a wider audience. Somewhere receive Christ, receive Jesus. For the quote feature, as a Twitter user, I want to be able to reshare info and share my perspective on it exactly without having to retype the original idea. I love the creativity, guys. Now, Ajarat, I love this too. As an environmentalist, I want to reshare information to my community of fellow environmentalists, but it's missing something. You've identified who the user is, you've identified the need, but what is the benefit? So that what? What is the reason? So you said you want to reshare and project good things about your community to the global world. Why? So that you can solve a problem, so that you can give more visibility to your blog. There has to be a reason. The reason is why you will be able to even convince your stakeholders why that feature is important. I want to be able to review multiple products so that I can build my portfolio. Nice. This can be maybe like on a portfolio tool or a review tool. I love everything I am getting so far. Now look at how I broke this down, guys. I said, for this user story, my user or the user persona is a fashion designer. Why? What do they want? They want to save posts on IG. Why do they want it? They want to have an archive. Mr. Johnson, your video is on. Can you maybe turn it off? Yeah, so that you don't distract us because it's showing on my screen. All right. Why do they want it? They want to have an archive of design inspirations that they come across on IG, collated in a particular place so that they can access them whenever they need some inspiration. You guys now understand me. And you know, the thing about product documentation is that, what informs your documentation is your knowledge of your user. And where do you get the knowledge of your user from? From user research. Do you guys understand what I'm saying now? That is why we curated your topics to be in a certain way. And that is why there's some, like, there's a flow to it. So let's assume that I'm a product manager on working with Instagram now, and we just conducted like a usability testing for certain people, and we just hear that, oh, how about I'm able to, I come across something on my explore page and I really like it. I don't want to have screenshots. Yeah, or I'll come across a vendor that I want to use for my wedding. Oh, I might not even have a man yet, but I'm like, I would like to wear this on my wedding day. Yeah, it would be nice to just have a place where I can access everything. And as the product manager, and I'll be like, wow, that's actually a very nice feature. And then when I want to spec out the feature as a product manager, I can then say, oh, as a fashion designer or as a user, I want to have a place where I can keep, or, where I can keep, vendors that I come across. Do you guys understand me? Now, another important documentation. Do all your feature come from your users? I would say no. I would say no. As much as there are some basic features that your application should have that it does not even, you don't need the user to tell you that. Thank you so much, Rukayat. Sign up, log out, change password. Those are basic things that your application should have. Yeah. Or some other things like adding music, ability to add music. There are some that will actually come from a competitive analysis. Who can tell me a feature on Instagram that came from their competitor? Sorry, I wish I could hug you right now. Instagram Reels, of course, they were trying to copy TikTok. Is it not obvious? So that's basically where you get your features from. You see why competitive analysis is very important. Yeah. By the way, competitive analysis is also another important documentation. The reason why I didn't include it is because we've spoken about it in our last class. User persona is also an important documentation that you should know how to do as a product manager. Stories too. Yeah, because I know that Twitter used to do, was it Twitter that was doing user stories? Was it Twitter? Snapchat, oh yeah, that's true. And then they added IG Live because Facebook too could do Facebook. Facebook Live was there. Live streaming on Facebook, live streaming on YouTube, and then they also added live streaming on IG too. And they just, tweak it a bit to maybe give them a competitive edge. Twitter Spaces from Clubhouse. I like the way you people have, oh my God, I love the way you're thinking. Yeah. I remember so much that we all left Twitter that time to go to Clubhouse. And the next thing we knew, Twitter Space was launched and they pushed Clubhouse out of the market. All right. Now, let's go to acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria, like the name implies, these are the things, the criteria, the requirements that the user needs to accept in order to use a feature. The acceptance criteria helps to focus the team and helps them determine what to prioritize. It also helps to describe in more detail what the feature must contain to be valuable to the user. Now, I wrote here that the acceptance criteria for our aforementioned user story can be the user must be able to save a post whenever it appears. The saved post must be unique and accessible to only the user or private to only the user. The user should be able to delete the post when done with it. So the criteria basically says that, okay, we've identified a need. We have created a user story for it. What are the things that need to be in place for us to say that this feature has been fully implemented? What are the things that the user should be able to do to show us that this feature, like from A to Z, this feature has been fulfilled, or this feature is valuable to our users? That retweet one I said now, as a user, I should be able to retweet. And I want to also be able to undo my retweet. That's an acceptance criteria. What's another acceptance criteria for the retweet feature? You can tell me. I have one on the top of my head. No, not code tweets. If I am retweeting, I want to engage your mind now. If I am retweeting so that I can spread the information I came across to a wider audience. If I'm retweeting so that I can spread the information to a wider audience, yeah. No, not share via DM. Another acceptance criteria would be that my followers should be able to see my retweets. Exactly, Christina. The retweeted feed should appear to my followers. Who is enjoying how mind engaging this is? Exactly. It is from your user stories that you are able to craft your acceptance criteria. Before we go on, let me give another one. Let me give another one. Trying to ensure that it's as simple as possible. Okay, who can tell me the acceptance criteria for, let's say, a change password feature? A change password feature. So I'm going to give you guys a user story. Let's say, as a user, I want to be able to change my password. I want to be able to change my password. Guys, I said change password, not forget password. Exactly. As a user, I should impute my previous password. That's number one. Users should be able to type the old and the new password. There's one that I am waiting for that you guys are not saying. Another criteria, password should be 8 words. Guys, it should include a sign. It should include a capital letter. They always write it there. There are some criteria that they actually write in the product itself. As a user, I should be able to hide my password. You know, that one where you, maybe if you are typing, it should be case sensitive. Like those are criteria. Don't think too far that you now lose what you are thinking about. The old password cannot be the new password. Thank you, Duni. Those are criteria. You have to confirm the new password. Yes, just to ensure that, you know, the new password you've chosen has registered in your mind. Again, those are criteria. Exactly. Yeah, recaptcha can be there maybe for products that are trying to, for products that are trying to, you know, but it's not something that is that popular. But if you are trying to stay away from like all these bots, accounts that are not real, that were created by bots, people use recaptcha too. So basically, that's what acceptance criteria should be. You must be able to log in again after the change of password. Of course, after I've changed my password, the next time I want to log in, it should be the new password. Those are the acceptance criteria. All right. Product roadmaps. Roadmaps are one of the primary and crucial documents that product managers are expected to keep. It is a high-level strategic document that outlines the product vision, the goals, and the key milestone over a specific period, usually 6 to 12 months. You know, I just finished working on the product roadmap for my company. It was for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, 2023. Yeah, and that's 12 months. Some can be 6 months. It is an essential tool for product managers to communicate the product strategy and priorities to stakeholders, including the development team, the executive management, and the customers. Now, as a product manager, after you've now identified, please, there's some questions that I may not be able to answer because we need to finish up this class. After we have identified the features that we want to build, we have the PRD for these features. Is it possible that we build all the features at the same time? Is it realistic? Is it feasible? Of course not. But we know that these features are important. Yeah? Now, your roadmap is now where you now show the road. You show the road that will lead to building this product or building this feature. For example, if it's a new product, you can say, oh, we are going to launch the MVP by the end of Q1. Now we have 5 more features before we can reach the whole product. So let's take it 2-2. Let's say we take the first 2 in Q2, we build that. Let's say we take the next 2 features in Q3, we build that. And then the last feature and our product launch is going to be in Q4. And then we relaunch again into the market. The document where you visualize the timeline for building these features and functionality is what you call your product roadmap. And this is what helps to communicate your product strategy and priorities. Remember that I said that the product strategy are the events or the features that will show where your product is going to. It is now on the roadmap that you now put, your roadmap is now where you now, George, I think I should just hand over this class. A product roadmap is a document to show strategy and the time allocated to executing these strategies. Exactly. I don't know if you guys have come across certain templates of product roadmaps. You will see that they always have time. It's either in weeks or in months or in quarters. You will see. And then they would, yes, there's on Roadmonk, you have on AHA, you have on Product Plan. Those are templates that you can use. You have on Confluence. You have on Trello. Those are nice templates where you can find product roadmaps. There's one thing that is common to all product roadmaps. They always have timelines. I hope that you guys are following me. Please let me know the priority level. Thank you, David. How do you write your product roadmap? You identify the major milestone or features that you want to achieve. Yeah. Then you prioritize these features based on importance and potential impact on achieving the goals and milestones. Now, guys, I just want to engage your brain again. After you've identified your milestone or your features or the functionality that you want to do, and you have prioritized, what will prioritization help you do? I want to know if you guys are, I'm sure that you guys are thinking now like product managers. What would the prioritization of the features help you do? Rufus. 2 hands in the air for you. Know which one to come first. I am so proud of you guys. Oh my God. I'm so excited. It helps you know which one to build first. Don't mind me. I'm just like that. I love when people just say things. They say things spot on. It helps me know that I am explaining well. It just encourages me that I'm doing a good job. It helps you, thank you, Israel. It helps you build your product in order of priority, in order of importance, in order of impact on your users. So you say that, oh, we have 5 features, but 1 is requested by 12 users. Of course, that is the one we are going to build in Q1. Do you guys understand? Then after you have now done that, you define the timeline for each milestone. You guys remember that we spoke about release timeline under our PRD. After you've determined the release timeline in your PRD, you can then now put the timeline in your roadmap. It's important that your timelines are realistic and they should take into account any dependencies or constraints. for example, there are some features that will be dependent on each other. Who can give me examples of that? I'm trying to just think that, okay, if you don't build this feature first, you might not be able to build another feature. Sign up, sign out. Brilliant. Please, my co-host, can you just help me on mute? If you don't have login, you cannot have the. Oh my God, who is that? Thank you. If you don't have login, you can't have the forgot password feature. So now imagine that you want to build forgot password in Q1, then you want to build login in Q3. Is that possible? It's not possible. Yeah. And then when you are done with these things, you've put them on a nice template. It's important that you communicate the product roadmap to stakeholders and gather feedback. I remember when I was done building my product roadmap, I had a one-on-one with my line manager, the agile coach of my company. We went over it, we brainstormed. He asked me, what's the why behind the certain features that I have chosen? Yeah. And I explained to him, we took out some, we refined some features that we had for our roadmap. We included some. He asked me to put the objective so that everyone can know the objective. That's why it's important to communicate your roadmap with your stakeholders, with your engineering team, gather their feedback, get their ideas. It helps you even refine and make your roadmap look better. And since they are the ones that are going to be using it, you need to carry them along at the beginning of your documentation so that you don't have to start it all over again when you see that they cannot understand what you wrote. All right, we are moving towards the end of this class. Another important documentation that you would need to work on are your guides, and like the way and as I said, the guides are super important because you don't want to build a product that people don't know how to use. I'm sure that every single website or product that you know today has an FAQ or guide section. How many people can attest to that? It is also the work of your product manager, and let's say the UX designer or the UX writer to write the guides and FAQs for their products. So we have two types of guides. We have the customer-facing guide and we have the internal guides. The customer-facing guide is a user manual document in simple words. It falls upon product management's shoulders to create this document containing instructions on how to use that developed application. The customer-facing guide can be in different ways. How many of you have used certain applications that immediately you log in like this, they will start telling you, oh, step 1 out of 5, come here to create an account. When you want to use something like Miro, it will like lead you to certain places so that you can get to know how to use the app. ClickUp has that. Thank you. Some people's guides are in videos, onboarding process. These are the guides that you're also responsible for having. Some are videos that they will embed on the website. Some are questions, FAQ sections on the app. Kuda has that too. Has a very, very brilliant FAQ section on their app. And then you have the internal guides and FAQs. These private internal FAQs are prepared for the stakeholders to keep them updated with the whole product development process. It ensures that data is recorded in a manner that ensures easy handoff among product members and also helps to assist external facing roles like sales, marketing, and customer support. So the internal guides, basically, don't let me give you too much grammar, is basically, there are certain companies that might have like internal admin portals that help them to manage their products. Of course, you will not show that to your users. That one is meant for the internal stakeholders, the internal people. So you also need to have guides internally for your team that will help them to understand the product, so that at a point, maybe if someone leaves the team, if a new person is coming on board, or maybe someone is transferring from one team to another, they will be able to go back to these guides and just easily understand what the product is all about. It is also important for people that are outside your development team to have these guides, so that when it helps with their knowledge about the product, so that when they also need to face the users, they can know what to say, they can know how to say, they can know the nitty-gritty of your product. And these people are sales, the marketing, the customer support, they can know how to market your product. So all these are so important documentation, guys. All right. In conclusion, guides to writing documentation. Number one, I feel like this is the number one for everything in all the topics that we have done so far. Understand who your users are. Understand who your audience is. Understand what your market is about. That's always and will always be the starting point for everything when it comes to products management. Understand who your audience is and tailor your documentation to their needs. Remember I said during the writing of user stories, that it is the need that will sponsor the user story. Then the user story will make up the feature. Number two is ensure you use clear, simple, and concise language. That is also very important. Number three, use visuals such as diagrams, charts, and screenshots to enhance your documentation and make it easier to understand. Number four, use consistent formatting, terminology, and style throughout your documentation. For example, me, all my documentation is on Confluence. I don't have like 5 different templates with different fonts. The most I can do is to use Google Doc. Outside Google Doc, everything I write is on Confluence, and it's easy for me because we use Jira at work. And Jira, Confluence, all of them are like an entire package. So if someone is on Jira and needs to access documentation, they just need to click on our Confluence and they can easily access it. So ensure that, you are consistent. Also in your terminology, in your design, ensure that it's consistent so that whoever will be reading it 2 years after you even leave the company, they will be able to understand what has been done. And to help you write your documentation, because I understand how cumbersome it can get. I understand how overwhelming it can actually get. Documentation is overwhelming, especially if you are doing it high level. Trust me, I have spent 4 or 5 days on documentation before I got to the end of the tunnel. So start by writing an outline. What do I want to include in this documentation? Then take it outline by outline, break it down. This will help you organize your thoughts and ensure that you cover all the necessary information. And last but definitely not the least, use templates. Use templates. If you know any nice templates, just share them in the chat box so that people that don't know yet can get to know them. We mentioned some of them during the course of the class. Use templates. There are so many nice templates out there for your PRDs, your roadmaps. Hello, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be sure. Okay. Use templates. Your templates will help you save time. It will help you ensure that, the necessary information is included in your documentation. There are people that have gone ahead of you. They know the necessary things that should be there. So all you have to do is, a template is basically what you just take and you just fill it in. Yeah, you can just fill it in. You don't need to start brainstorming and start thinking of what should I put. There's already a laid down guide to help you. So utilize templates too. So like I said when I was talking about PRDs, collaborate with stakeholders such as your developers and your designers when writing your documents. Please, guys, can we just list a few templates that we product managers do so that our other colleagues can get to know about them? Just list them in the chat box. Collaborate with stakeholders such as developers, designers when you are doing your documentation. This will help your documentation to be more accurate and comprehensive. So imagine that that aspect of design. After you've done like a flow chart or a low-level wireframe, you can just reach out to your designer that, oh, I have this idea and I've done it. Can you help me, redo it into a high-level wireframe or high-level, high fidelity wireframe? And you can just put that in your PRD. It will help it look much more better. And when you are done, test your documentation with a sample audience. Just like what I said I had a one-on-one with my boss to say that, oh, I have worked on this, so, and so. Do you think it's easy to read? Based on their feedback, I then, I rectify and I refine it before I now share it with my entire team. So testing your documentation will help to ensure that it is clear, it is easy to understand, and it meets the need that you want it to meet. And last but not the least, just like somebody asked during earlier today, it's just like someone said, rather, it's a living document. It's a living document. Update your documentation regularly to ensure that it remains accurate and up to date with the latest product changes and features. And with this, we have come to the end of this class. How was it for you guys? How has it been? Have you been able to further understand what product management and product documentation is?
Yes. As it gets deeper, it's getting interesting and sweeter.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So I said before we go, this is not an exhaustive list of documents that product managers write. I don't know if you know about release notes. Product managers write that too. I mentioned user personas. There's MRD, marketing requirement documents. That's the requirement for your target market. There's UAT guides. There's your product launch. You write reports. You write a lot, Tomo. You go write. That's just the There's your functional requirement document. There's your go-to-market strategy. There's so much to write, guys. But you know what? Once you know the major guides to writing this thing, like I just spoke about, you will find them easy to write. And the more you write it, the better you get at it. You can wake me up in the middle of the night now and I can write a product requirement document in 30 minutes. I will just whip up one because I know, as long as I understand what that feature is about, yeah, I would write it. A user story, in fact, I can close my eyes and write that one for you. So the more you write it, the better you get at it. Like I said, the best way to learn is by doing what, guys? The best way to learn is by doing. So, guys, get doing. Get doing. So before we go to our questions, let me quickly talk about your assignments. Let me quickly talk about your assignments. Yeah, practice makes perfect. Kilo Fariwo, why are you shouting? Why are you shouting? Let me know. I think I should stop recording.